twice a day at least, I say to myself, my nickname is Vicky. I grew up with Vicky. I love you, Vicky. And then I say it back. I go, I love you too. I finally came into my own person about 5 years ago.
Wow.
And it was only because of struggle in our marriage and in myself. I have my reservations about manifesting. You know, like you just manifested and you get it. Like, that's what worked for me. I'm with my husband 27 years married soon. So we've had our ups and downs. We were almost divorced twice. He handed me papers. For real, like that was, you know, I mean, the FBI came knocking at my door. We lived in Hawaii at the time.
Today, we have the pleasure of talking with Victoria Arnstein, who I can't do justice in this bio, so I need you to explain your whole bio yourself and maybe some of your backstory also.
Okay, thank you for having me. I am a mother, a wife. I have a new podcast out called Wife's a Bitch. My husband loves that name. And I wrote a book called Impress Yourself. I am an athlete. I've done a couple of ultra marathons and some long distance swims. What else? I'm
Pretty classic bio if I've ever heard one.
A stand-up comic. That's my favorite. Stand-up comedy is my favorite. If I had to stop everything in the world, I would just want to make people laugh. And it doesn't even have to be on stage. It could just be on the checkout line at CVS. If I made someone laugh, I'm a happy girl. I know because that's what I want to do all the time. It's like a drug of choice. I absolutely love laughing, and it's involuntary. So you know that you touch somebody and you bonded with them in that moment, and it's just a spark of beauty to me every time someone laughs at anything I said or wrote.
So you have to know that that story is so unique. There are very few people that are running ultras that are doing stand-up by themselves that are writing books.
They're pretty connected.
So that's my question.
Exercise.
And that are married to Michael Arnstein.
Michael Arnstein's
all of those by themselves.
That's another life of its own. I used to just talk about Michael because I was so impressed by him. But now I realize that I impress myself with all the stuff that he's introduced me to. I was not a runner before I met him. And I was like a light jogger, if that, and an aerobics instructor. That's it. And he introduced me to that. And it was really only because I wanted his attention. And I thought I'd never see him again if he's running all these ultras and training for ultra marathons, which is a marathon with mental illness. Basically, it's a marathon past a marathon and another marathon after that. So I wanted his attention. That's really what it came down to. But then I realized how much I loved it. And so I didn't care about his attention after that. So it by default, it happened where I absolutely love it in the end. But I had to learn this after, 50 years? I'm 55 now. And I had to keep up. He's younger. He's about 7 years younger than I am. So, just keeping up with that. And I finally came into my own person about 5 years ago.
Wow.
And it was only because of struggle in our marriage and in myself that became something that made us more connected. But comedy's always been something that I've loved to do. I just didn't think I would ever get married. I grew up in a Sephardic Jewish community in Brooklyn, and I knew at 18, I'm not going to be a stand-up I loved it, but I was like, who's going to marry? And that's all I wanted to do was get married. That was my career of choice. Like, just find the guy and get married. And let me tell you, it was a career looking for him. It was a long haul. I mean, it's the most important decision you're going to ever make. And so, finding him is a career. Finding that spouse. I mean, when are you the most vulnerable? When you're sleeping, right? Why would you pick just anyone to sleep next to? Like, that was how I thought, and I was also waiting to break my virginity until my wedding night. So I was 29. It was like getting to the point where my mom was like, why don't you just do it? I'm like, Mom, I'm not doing this for you. And then I met Michael and he didn't care. He really just didn't care. He's like, I'll wait. And, a year later we were married. So ladies, if you're out there, there's still hope for you if you don't want to just give in to anything like that. But yeah, so that was something that he didn't care, but it was for me. I'm not saying I recommend it, but that's what worked for me. I'm with my husband 27 years married soon. So we've had our ups and downs. We were almost divorced twice. He handed me papers. For real, like that was, the FBI came knocking at my door. We lived in Hawaii at the time. I got stories,
I would like to say that if they want to hear about Michael,
Yeah, they should
there's
listen to
a full
that.
episode there.
Yeah.
But this is about
Okay,
Victoria Arnstein.
that's fine. But
So-
he did influence me in a lot of ways.
Of course. And I'm not saying that in any way to say, like, don't
No,
talk about him.
no.
But don't feel a pressure.
No,
to talk
I
about
know. I used to only talk about him because his life was more interesting than mine, and he became my hero, and I became his hero. And that was a problem. It's a problem in relationships that people don't realize, and that's what I talk about in my podcast called Wife's a Bitch. I would have called it Impress Yourself. It's more that.
Those are so polar opposites.
Right, but Wife's a Bitch is such a ring to it that it would bring people in, and just why I, and I become that person. I used to be the flower child, a hippie, like, I just married for love. And I did. I married him for love. He had no money, and I took a chance on him because he was so ambitious. And I have one quality that I will say that I am good at. I could spot talent. I know someone's going to be a star. I just know it. I don't know what it is. I could find the it factor in somebody. I don't know how I do it. I read people very well because I was a very good salesperson. Years ago, I was in sales, which is how I met him. He walked into a jewelry store that I was working in. He was selling gemstones. I was selling gemstones. I'm like, dude, not buying from you. And he's like, I'm not buying from you. Ended up talking for a while, and we ended up going out. But I'm very good at reading people. And it was a skill that I had to learn over time. And it's a great language for anybody out there. I talk about it in my book. It is such an important language. It's another language that people don't even give it a chance because they're always on their phones. But if you could read somebody, I mean, if you can't get to talking in person or FaceTime, the phone is the second way to read them. But the best way is body language is just so, I used to know if somebody was going to buy something that was $100,000 right in front of me because they would touch it. They would, there's signs, they would take off their coat. They were getting hotter, things like that. You could see if someone's more interested. That's why I say go out in person and learn this language. It is so important.
This may be a stretch because it's not really the same topic. But in that situation, what's fascinating to me is all these people are walking in. And to them, it's just, I'm a person. I can do whatever I want. I have totally free will. And then they're walking in, and the whole time you're watching them, you're like, no, I know exactly what you're going to do right now.
Yeah. It's almost godly. It's almost godlike. It really is. It's a superpower.
And how much of what we do is like that, where there's someone just walking around, you can say, I can predict your whole life.
Yeah. Well, I'm amazed by mentalism, but I'm not that amazed because they study. That's exactly what they're studying. There's no real trick to it, I want to say. They're studying body language so well. Maybe they are clairvoyant. I don't know. They're not telling us, but there's a lot of knowing what someone's going to say before they say it just from their body language. And you could tell if someone's nervous. There's body language experts that I learn from online. I study that. I study them studying people, which is, after a while, it becomes second nature, just like anything else. It's like, a traffic light red means stop, It's just it's something that becomes incorporated into your mind and your psyche, and you don't even know why you know it. You just study it. So I recommend it highly to do body language.
Are there specific tips or lessons that you've learned? And is this just an intuition that you've developed? Or is it
I always have the
framework at this point?
Well, I've always been observant, which makes me a better salesperson. And because I was observant growing up, my father pointed it out to me. He's like, "You're very observant." I would notice a haircut the second you had it. I'm also an artist. I'm an oil painter, so I could see differences on people's faces if they changed one little thing. So the observant part is definitely a helpful part. But I think that you could definitely learn a lot of things that you didn't know you were missing because you've studied it. You start to really see it. It becomes second nature, like I said. I'm sweating now because I'm getting a hot flash. I don't know if you guys know what that is. That's menopause. I'm not on hormones, and I'm just drenched right now. And then it's going to go away, and I'm going to be freezing. But it's a nightmare what I'm going through.
I thought you were
right
going
now.
to say because it's hot in
No,
here.
not at all. It's me. It's an inferno from within, and it happens to me while I'm on stage doing stand-up, and I talk about it. I'm like, I'm in a puddle right now, guys. I'm going to swim out of here. Like, that's how it's brutal what I'm going through right now. And it amps up whenever I get in front of people or, there's a little bit more nervous energy, just like when you make a sale. The energy, the heat goes up. So we turn on the air conditioner in the jewelry store that I was in the winter. Like, that's how much more you get, heated. heated moment.
I want to double tap on, you said
Exercise?
Up until 5 years ago, you didn't feel like you were your own developed person.
No, I wasn't.
So is this an observation you have
lost.
that in hindsight?
Yeah, you
didn't
get
have the
lost in your
sense of
marriage
clarity that you have
also.
now?
Yeah.
Or would you have said then that you knew exactly who you were
No.
at that point?
No, I had no idea. It took me 50 years. I'm 55 now. That's what it took. It took my husband going to jail, getting almost divorced twice, and learning how to do things on my own. By default, I had to be independent. I was a very dependent child, one of 5 children. My mother had 2 nannies. They were nannies from Dominican Republic and probably $60 a week each. But nevertheless, they always babied us. You know what I mean? So I always got that, that short end of the stick, I want to say, because you're not really learning anything if you get everything done for you. Do you know what I mean? Getting carried all the time, I would put my clothes in the laundry and the same day it was in my drawer, folded. Like, that's not healthy. And I didn't do that for my kids. My kids had to do their own laundry at 5 years old because that's what Michael was taught. And it taught them how to be more independent. My kids are super independent. I have 3 grown kids, super independent. And it's mostly because I'm lazy. But it doesn't matter because it worked out better for them than me. My childhood was different. And it took a long time for me to get to the point of not depending on my husband to be happy. That's the biggest message I have for any woman out there. It's so hard. It's so hard to not depend on them because he pays all the bills still. He's the alpha male. But I'm also an alpha in a woman. So it's like, but I was depending on him for everything. I still do financially, but not for happiness. Now I found myself. And just to point back for the exercise thing, you guys, I didn't forget. I do forget sometimes now. But the exercise and comedy do go hand in hand because of timing. You could literally have, everything's perfect timing in comedy. It's perfect timing in a marathon. Like, you have to know where you're at. And perfect timing in swimming. Like, I used to swim in the ocean in Hawaii to another island. And I knew exactly where I was by the internal clock that I had going on. So that's really important to know how long your set's going to be. Sometimes they're not going to light you, which is to get off the stage. And you have to know your internal clock. You have to know when you're at 10 minutes or 20 minutes. You can't just keep going. You have to have some sort of sense of where you are in everything. It's exercise too.
What's the framework that you're making these decisions around? Because I'm trying to figure out what metrics you could be using to decide, I'm going to move to Hawaii now. I'm going to start ultra marathons now. I'm going to go into this comedy. I'm going to start a podcast. What are you deciding
boredom?
that based on?
The fact
But it's
that
not
I
just
don't
boredom because these are
have to
things that
work.
take effort.
Okay, so every decision I ever made was my husband would say that you're looking for attention and that's why you're doing stand up. He's the one who told me after we were married with 3 kids. He's like, you're really funny. We're sitting in the kitchen. 15 years into our marriage at this point, he's like, you'd be really funny. You should probably do a stand-up comedy class. I go, what? He didn't even know I wanted to do stand-up. I just totally buried that because I didn't think anybody would marry a girl. And most guys wouldn't marry a girl that's doing stand-up, let's be honest. But I wouldn't marry a girl that's doing stand-up. I don't know if I'd marry a guy that did stand-up and tell it all on stage. My husband's pretty brave. But yeah, I did that and it took off. But then after that, he was like, oh, your little hobby, whatever. And it was a hobby until very recently I started doing it as a career. And it's still a struggle and a grind, but it's a love-hate relationship. I absolutely love it, but I really want to quit every single day because it's a struggle. It's a hustle for someone like me. If you're not there yet, it's a hustle. But he's the one who encouraged it. But then he was like, yeah, you do it for attention. I'm like, Michael, I could walk outside naked and I'll get attention. That's not what it's for. I absolutely love making people laugh. Like I said, it could be on the checkout line at CVS. I absolutely love the feeling. You can't be angry when you're laughing. I write about the 8 pillars of health because I used to be a health coach. And the last one that's my favorite, I talk about is laughter. It's so important. It's so healthy. People don't realize how much they need it. Like, you need it like sunlight and hydration. You need laughter.
What's the formula for laughter? Because I never laugh.
Yeah, that's
And
what
if I
Michael
need it,
says
I'm in
that
bad
too.
shape.
Michael does that too. He's like, oh, I don't want to watch stand-up comedy, but then I'll play a clip and he's like, oh my God, that was hilarious. And we'll laugh until it hurts.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. Is there any greater feeling than laughing? I mean, first of all, I've never watched a speech at a graduation or a funeral if it didn't make me laugh, I never paid attention after 3 minutes. And I noticed that when I was selling jewelry, I was making people laugh. And they're like, you should do stand-up. That's where I first started getting like the idea. And I was like, oh my God, I realized the connection made. Every time I made them laugh, I made a sale. You understand? Like there was a bond that was going on. It was magic. It was electric. So what makes someone laugh? It's involuntary. But if you can connect with somebody in that way, it's magic. It really is truly magical. You can connect with somebody, in an abstract way, like somebody's falling in love with somebody else. That's a great feeling. It's infatuation. Everyone loves that. But if you can get a total stranger to laugh, I can't even, that drug of choice is just going to bring every comic back. And that's why comics don't really ever stop doing comedy. They always come back. They take a break. I took a three-year break in Hawaii. Why'd we move to Hawaii? I loved swimming and I loved the weather. And I was living in Westchester and my family was in New York. Like they were in Brooklyn. So I was like, I didn't see them anyway. And Michael would go away every weekend to do an ultra marathon or he would go on a business trip. And I'm like, I'm home with 3 kids in Westchester in the snow. Like, what am I doing? If you're going to go away, at least let me be in a climate that I love. Now with my hot flashes, I can't go back to Hawaii. But at the time I was like winter blues. And then when I went to Hawaii, it was like the best year of my life that first year. It was like we lived large on the ocean and I was so happy. And I wasn't even doing comedy. I just was so happy and content being in the sun and getting the vitamin D that I really didn't get. Vitamin D makes you happy. It just does. Your vitamin D levels, if they're up, and you can't just get it from eating like fish oil or you have to really truly, I would live in a bikini. I would like literally walk around in a bikini. My skin got tanned. I did get skin cancer, but anyway,
is tanning healthy?
Twitches here.
Or is it
I think it's
obviously
healthy
unhealthy?
I think sunlight, and I talk about sunlight, is very important. Not that long of it. I lived in the ocean. Like I would swim for 2 miles at a time. That's an hour and a half of swimming in salt water. I swam with tiger sharks. I didn't even know there were tiger sharks until 2 years in. I would float in the middle of the ocean like it was nothing. And then I found out later that some guy got his feet like bit off like 50 yards from where I live and where I swam every single day. I just happened to be in New York that day. I was haunted, but I still went back because it was like a fly to light. Like I had to go back in. Like the water there is epic. If I could show you a picture, I can't because it's a black and white. For some reason, they sent me the wrong one. But it's turquoise. Go look up Lanikai Beach, guys, in Hawaii and Oahu, and you will see. It's absolute, like, I don't know. It's like so attractive to human eye, like you have to be, if you love water like I do. I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces. I don't know what it is, but I'm absolutely in love with it. There might be validity to the horoscopes because my husband is a Capricorn, a goat, and he's a mountain goat. Like he climbed Mount Everest. Like he climbed Mount Ahmad Dablam. Like he's insane. And I'm in the ocean all the time, and he's at the mountains like watching over me. I just see that whole metaphor of maybe there's some validity, a little bit to zodiac. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think those are crazy. I think the way people apply
crazy.
them is
the craziness. Yeah, you're probably right.
Where these are like, they're charts that people wrote 4,000 years ago.
That's true.
Of observations.
All right, I don't feel badly now. I don't feel like a stupid little teenager girl going by horoscopes. But I do believe in numerology, and I do believe in that's in the Torah also, the numerology. I used to go to classes at Hineni. I don't know if anybody knows about this. Hineni with Rebbetzin Esther Youngrice. She was a mentor to me. I used to go every week. I used to bring people to her classes, and it was just a reminder because when you're a secular Jew, you're just reminded that you are Jewish. Every week she goes over the parasha, which is the portion of the week, and you're just like, she incorporated those parashot, that portion of the Torah, into your everyday life. And there was no greater place to go on a Tuesday night if you were single in Manhattan. And I was living in Manhattan, and I absolutely loved it. And I don't know where I'm going with that, but numerology. Should we talk about Kabbalah and numerology. And I was like, I can't wait to be 40 and learn about Kabbalah. I never did, but I actually might. I might
Maybe
start.
that's the secret. They're like, don't learn it until you're 40. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
at that point, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even want it.
Right. But I think Kabbalah is very interesting, mystical and all that. It's not different from Neville Goddard and manifesting, which I have a whole joke about manifesting because, I have my reservations about manifesting, like you just manifested and you get it. Like, there's a lot of people that are selling like courses out there that are quacks, so just be careful. Because, I mean, how do you say to yourself, oh, yeah, it's not going to work for me when you want it to work for you? You want to believe all the BS that everybody's feeding you. Like, oh, yeah, you just think about it and you'll get it. Everybody wants to believe that. There's not a person on the planet that doesn't want to believe that they could get something effortlessly, like The Secret says.
Well, the effortless part is the lie of it.
Right.
And they're selling the pipe dream without the effort.
Right.
Which is where it gets dicey.
Right,
And,
it's a dream.
And you don't need effort. You just need our 60-minute session.
Right.
Which is
for
even worse.
$1,000 or $200 or whatever.
Before you use the word boredom to describe sort of your life before you found any sort of identity in it, what do you consider it boredom? Because that sounds like a very privileged place to be in.
It is.
Where you can...
Well, I would rather
there's nothing
not
to worry
eat.
about.
I'd rather not eat a lot, and I'd rather not have a lot of luxuries if I don't have to work. So that was my whole... I was raised to be a wife and a mother, right? So like having to do extra on top of all that, it was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I think I was like ready for the end game in marriage. And I will say this, ladies, the game begins when you get married. Let me tell you something. People just fall apart. They get ugly. They get fat. They wear sweatpants when your husband comes home. Don't do that stuff. I talk about it in my book. I talk about it on my podcast. You want to look good all the time because it does get boring. So you have to spice things up. You have to keep yourself, first of all, looking good is so important. It's so important to be healthy. You can't let yourself go just because you got married. He's still a man. He still wants a woman. And don't be surprised when they cheat because, you're looking like crap. Start looking good. You know what I mean? So I will say Sephardic Jewish ladies, they do look good in their older age. They get better and better with age. We're like fine wine. But a lot of ladies, it's like that they let themselves go. They think, oh, I got my man. I don't want to play games anymore. That's why I want to get married. No. The game begins when you get married. Dating's the easy part. It's marriage that's hard. You keep that up,
Now
you're
just
doing well.
scaring me.
Why? I'll teach your wife to be. I'll
'Cause
tell
at
her
this
what to
point,
do.
It's like, well, dating is
You
gonna
don't
be-
have to do anything. I just told you that these are the ladies that have to do
true.
it.
That's true.
You don't have to do any of that work.
So
I mean, you do have to keep
It doesn't
up.
apply to the men.
Yeah, you have to make money.
Okay.
No, I used to not care about that. Like I said, I was a hippie child. I was like very flowery, but I didn't realize the struggle. My mom would tell me, there's a struggle out there. There's a struggle. And marriage is hard enough, ladies. So if you want to up that chance of not having those problems, it is a business too to get married. It is a business too. Unless you're young and you could really spot a real doer, like I spotted Michael was a doer, and I was right. I was right about everything I said he was going to do, and he was right about everything he said he was going to do. He did, and then some.
How much of that do you associate or do you attribute to your belief in him?
What do you
Because
mean?
in some way, connected to manifestation,
Oh,
being married
I
to
didn't know I
someone
was
who believes
manifesting.
that you're a doer and believes you're going to do all these things might raise your chances of actually actualizing them.
Well, I must have been manifesting without knowing it. And I must have been also playing hard to get and not knowing it because I wasn't that interested in him like the way he was interested in me. I wasn't that interested in the beginning. I was dating somebody else at the time, and I didn't really pay attention. He was younger, but because I was so aloof, that was attractive. That's just more attractive. So that's another thing that a lot of women are not aware of. They don't have that self-respect. That I did have early on. That I had that confidence, but I lost that confidence when I got married because now he's becoming a hero, doing so many great things in life, winning ultra marathons and putting on a fruit festival, and everybody was like looking at him like a hero, and YouTube became big, and he was big on YouTube, and he was becoming my hero. But then I was losing myself, and I was starting to give in to all of him. And that's when he started to lose some interest. Not on purpose. He wasn't like, oh, she's needy now. Neediness, horrible. That's you're going to be your demise in anything you do. And I did coin a phrase in my book saying, you're one person away from success and you're one person away from destruction. So choose wisely. It's so important because you really could get completely demised in life if you're with the wrong person. It's one person. That's it. No one realizes my best prayer in my life, and I don't pray everything in Hebrew, I pray in my head, remove the wrong people in my life and put the right people in my life. That's so important. I taught my kids that because if you have the wrong people in your life or even one wrong person, you're not going to go far in life. You're not. That's really, and Michael does crazy stuff too. I have to also, keep him, keep him leveled out. Like he listens to me now. He didn't before.
What does taking the comedy career pro look like? What was the switch? What actually changed?
For me? When I finally wanted to take it into...
Yeah, you said in the past couple of years.
Yeah, the past couple of years, I think it was also audience giving me that recognition after the shows. Could you do a private event for us? And starting to realize I had something, Before it was a hobby because I loved doing it so much, it didn't matter if I got paid. It still doesn't matter if I get paid to do it. I don't care. I'll pay someone else. I'm not even kidding. That's how much I know. And if I had all the money in the world and somebody asked me what I wanted to do in life, it's stand-up comedy. It's the most instant. I was an actor before. And acting is great in skits and stuff like that. I'm a trained actor. I got into American Academy for Dramatic Arts. I could do voiceovers. I could do impressions.
Do you do something now?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could do Cardi B. That's the only thing that went viral on TikTok for me. It's almost 2 million views, which is how I got a lot of followers. But can't really keep that up either. I mean, if I wanted to do some impressions, I guess I could hone in on those and start to do them. But
is she from Brooklyn?
She's from Bronx, so
close enough.
Yeah, so I got really good reviews on that video. It's on TikTok. Victoria Laughs if you want to go on that, but or on Victoria Makes You Laugh on Instagram. But I think that I don't know what I was saying exactly, but. What was I saying?
Going pro. You were saying that you would even pay people.
Right, I would. Yeah. And if I had all the money in the world, that's acting to me is second, and I'll use acting in my stand-up, but I don't want to do somebody else's script. I want to write it myself. So to me, the immediate beauty is I wrote this, and now you're laughing at something that I wrote. Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's, like I did that. I can't even explain because I'm so creative. I'm a creative writer. So for me to the whole process of just having the thought, loving my own joke, like, oh my God, I love this so much. I'm not doing it for anybody else at this point. I'm like, I'm going to do this on stage because I love it so much. Sometimes it doesn't really get off to a good start, and sometimes it doesn't ever work. But I'm like, oh my God, I have such belief in it. Like I had a manifesting joke that I worked on. And there's bullet points on it and everything. And I keep working on it because I have so much belief in it because I know everybody's manifesting now. Everybody in Gen X is definitely Gen Z. What's that one now? What's the new one?
Gen Alpha, I think.
Or whatever the newest one is, they're all manifesting. And even millennials, so they could all relate, So as my age group, which is like I'm 55, I mean, we think of things of this is all new age BS, this is we didn't have YouTube. We're the generation that just went from the 1900s to now. We got the best of both worlds because we grew up without internet and now we have internet. My kids don't know what that is. They just had the cusp of getting internet. But now it's I have both sides. I could see both sides.
It's weird to think that we're almost post-internet now.
Oh, God, are we? We're in the
years.
infant stage. We're still in toddler. I'd say we're in toddler stage.
Of the internet?
Oh, yeah. No, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I just think the way we consume it right now, and the way we think of the internet is mostly Google and web browsers and that kind of thing, where it's already not web browsers. Now it's ChatGPT, it's wearable devices,
Right.
It's asking your AI
But it's
glasses
not developed
something.
yet. It's not developed yet. Not even nearly as
It's
close
all
as it.
developed. It's just not rolled out for consumers.
Okay, so soon, this is how I picture 5 years from now. Robots are going to be walking children to school, and they're going to be armed in some way. They're going to be, you could connect with that robot that's taking your kid to school. It's going to be a lazy mom summer, let me tell you. Like, you are not going to be able to do, you're going to have so much more time on your hands. First of all, now that we have digital currency, which is Bitcoin, you're going to have a lot more time on your hands too. If you invested in anything like that, you don't have to work. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could do hobbies all day long and enjoy your life. And that becomes your work. That's how you're going to, take up your time. If you have digital currency that's growing, you don't have to worry about work ever for the rest of your life, if that's what you have, which I believe in.
Well, at the same time,
People are like, this is just energy. I'm like, yeah. So if I text you a mean text, you felt that, right?
yeah.
Everything's feeling, by the way. I will say that about everything in life. Everything is a feeling, because you don't have to have a language or even be able to speak. You could be a mute, but you could feel something. If somebody of course, words are important. I love wordsmiths, but if you could feel something, it's how someone made you feel. That's what you walk away with all the time. Feeling. That's how you sell. That's how you make someone, that's why when you make someone laugh, they feel good. That's why ugly comedian men get really pretty women. Yeah, they almost say it's like an orgasm to laugh.
Wait, so what's the reason?
Because laughing makes you much more, makes you feel so good, it's almost orgasmic. So
What's the reason the ugly men get the pretty women?
because they made them laugh. Or they have money.
But why specifically the ugly ones?
Well, there's a lot of ugly comedians out there that are men that are getting
Meaning
pretty
it's
women.
not because they're ugly.
Or rock stars.
It's even though they're ugly.
Right, even though they're ugly. Even though they're ugly.
Because a lot of people
Do you know of very many good-looking comedians that are men? You had to think. Off the top. Oh, Matt Rife, stop. Don't even.
Yeah.
He's an anomaly. He's an
like
anomaly.
a block away from MSG every day.
He's
I see
an
a
anomaly.
giant ad of Matt Rife.
Yeah, he's an
And it's just like his face. That's all it is.
And that took years to get to that point. And he had to prove himself. And he did that, and he did just that. He does very well for himself. And, you can almost, it could go against you to be good looking in comedy. I should know. No, I'm kidding. 55. Anyway,
I can't comment.
I wish
on
I
these
did it
things
earlier.
either way.
I wish I did it earlier in a way. I wish I wish I did it earlier. I really do. I wish I was. I'm doing it since 2012, and I took off 3 years, and then I wasn't doing it in New York. So I was a big fish in a small pond in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii for 7 years though, so that's where I did it, and it wasn't every night. So a New York comedian has been doing it concentrated, because they had more places to do it and more time to do it. But in Hawaii, it was like, you can't really grow in Hawaii. People ask me, what was it like doing, comedy in Hawaii? Well, I got paid because I was like, there was not that many comics. But also, it was like New Jersey with a nicer ocean. Like, it's a suburb. Hawaii is like a suburb, so you can't really grow like New York. New York is like fast paced. You can go to an open mic anytime. Can't do that in a suburb. Can't do that in Hawaii. So
I'm just thinking about, because you're not your life anymore, but what your life used to be like almost seems like where our world is going, where it's this privilege that we have now, that life seems to be getting pretty easy. Where everything is automated. We have very easy access to whatever we want.
But we're going to have a struggle for other things.
So what's that struggle? Because in the same way...
Not knowing how to read somebody?
So, and even without that, in the same way that it's not, a housewife isn't just bored. To say it's a completely painless existence when there's a feeling of not doing anything, and neglect, and maybe even worthlessness.
What's fun and exciting for a housewife? By the way, housewives matter, okay?
I'm saying we're all housewives at this point.
I guess so. But no, what is my husband coming home to that was interesting? So that I took up running, and now he's paying attention. I was just staying home on Facebook while my kids were at school. That's a shitty existence. I don't know what to tell anyone. Like, that's a horrible nothing. That's a nothing burger. Like, what am I contributing? Yeah, I'm doing important things for the kids and everything, but that's not exciting for me, and that's not, it's fulfilling, and you have to do the basics. But, what was really making me excited? And I think comedy was the only thing that really, really held me as long as it did. It kept me the most gratified and the most, that's where my eyes seek attention. Like, that's where I want to put my focus.
So for most of us, if we find ourselves with just so much time and sort of a cap at the pleasure we get from experiencing new things, is the solution to go find something we love and not even think about it, just
Yes.
go after?
Yes, absolutely. I don't care if you get a sugar daddy, if you can do that. But
If that's what you want.
no, I mean, that you could find ways to make money or have less means and not care and eat less, have a can of beans every night for dinner. If comedy is your thing, if acting is your thing, or whatever it is you're passionate about. Look, I'm an oil painter. I don't think I would have fun just painting all day and making paintings for people, and that takes a lot of time, and it's a very isolating thing. To me, I need to interact. I'm very social. We're all social beings, but I'm much more social than normal. Like, my husband's not social. I am. So to me, I like getting that connection with people. That to me connects. That's why I'm on the internet, because I like to connect. It's not always a good thing. I could troll some people here and there. I'm very, very good with confrontation. I have no problem being confrontational, ever.
When you say good,
I'm good at it where I almost like it. But I also feel like there's like something going on. There's fire going on now. Now there's something happening. Like, oh yeah, I got your goat. Now you got mine. Now, I have no problem fighting with anybody. I don't. I just don't have a problem with it. People shy away from confrontation. I'm like, bring it. Bring it. I'm from Brooklyn. I can do this. I could do this all day. And I do. And I get more followers from it. Not that makes me or break me. Unfortunately, you need more followers to get more, higher up in the career. Unfortunately, but that's how I get them.
What's an example of a confrontation online?
Just people just hating my politics, which is why I had a problem with comedy, because comedy is more liberal driven, and I'm not liberal. In fact, that's something that I realized. I never was into politics until the last, 15 years. I started paying attention and realizing, and I hate to say this, but I used to be liberal. Because I'm an artist. I'm live and let live, that kind of thing. I don't care if you get an abortion. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care what you do behind closed doors. I don't care. It doesn't affect me in any way. Still don't. So I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but I'm right in the middle. But if I had to, I'd lean more center right, because the left has gone so far off the deep end to me, and it's also this whole, like, I get offended by everything. Like, we even say sex offender now. Sex offender, it's a rapist. Who's offended? Like, ooh,
1 second.
he offends me.
You're saying that's to protect the rapist because they're getting offended?
I don't know. I mean, you're saying a pedophile is also sugarcoating it. It's like, a pedophile, you mean he has sex with minors or kids? Like, what are you sugarcoating? Like, why are you hiding that word? Now they're saying minor attracted. How dare you say minor attracted? You don't get to say that. You're disgusting. You're a disgusting individual that has a problem that's probably never going to be cured. Okay? I honestly believe pedophiles belong in a cage. But because you're taking someone's innocence away. Like, that's worse than killing someone to me.
You're saying once they've done something.
I don't know once they've done something, but yeah, a pedophile to me is a sugarcoating word. It's like, why are you calling it that? Is a steak not a cow? It's a cow. Call it a cow. Bacon's a pig. Come on, let's just say what it is, all right? Don't sugarcoat. I went on a rant yesterday. My son and his friends were hanging around. We were all talking, and somebody was fishing in the lake where I was, and I'm like, why do they call it a sport? How is that a sport? What are you doing? If the fish also had a weapon, that's a sport. But what's the fish doing? I'm working on this bit now because I can't believe that people call fishing a sport. You're putting bait inside for a fish to grab onto. That's like even the deer that you're shooting. Unless the deer has a gun too and it's vicious, that's not a sport.
Well, 1 second. You're fighting against the other person trying to shoot the deer also.
No.
Or trying to fish.
No, you're not.
You're
all
fighting
alone.
against the deer.
No, you're all alone. Where's the sport in it? Oh, you mean if it's a competition?
Or like archery, any shooting sport.
Okay, so that's a competition, right? Now you're having a competition. Okay, but I'm talking about if you're against an
running.
animal, running is a sport.
But you're not fighting
You're
anyone.
going
The
against
ground's
yourself.
not punching you.
No, but you're going against yourself. Running is very real.
Okay, so here
You can't
fishing
fake
against
running,
yourself.
and you can't have someone else run for you. You can't also have a tool. It's just you. Like with a gun, you're using something to get. Okay, so somebody that doesn't have a gun and someone who does have a gun, how is that a sport? You're hunting. Hunting is not a sport.
It's you against yourself.
But you're not in a sport. That's not a sport to me. The other person is, the other animal has nothing. Okay, maybe if it's a bear, okay? You want to call that. But a deer eating in the woods and all of a sudden you shoot it, where's the sport in that? There's not sport. There's no sportsmanship in that.
And you're committed to this stance.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to die on this hill. I just don't think that
Because
it's
also what we're seeing
sport.
is we're taking what I think is a real sport because they're really talented fishers or fishermen is probably the right word.
Talented?
Yeah.
You mean they throw something in that the fish wants? That the fish is so stupid and it'll take anything,
We're talking about
basically?
people
It eats
catching,
everything, by the way.
Like sharks.
What about sharks? It's a predator. By the way,
So
when they
people
say
catch
shark
sharks.
attack, okay, when they say shark attack, I crack up because I'm like, really? That you're in their world? I used to pray right before I went swimming. I would say, thank you for welcoming me into your world. I thank you. This is your world. It's not my world. I'm intruding. Thank you for having me. That's what I would say every single time, as stupid as it sounds. You know what? I'm still here. But there was a shark attack, right, like I said, where I was. And I remember watching the news and they said, hey, we're looking into it. We're investigating. I'm like, what are they going to do? Sit the shark down and interrogate it? Where were you on Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m.?
Did they interview you?
No, I wasn't there.
how'd
I
you
wasn't
get
there
away?
that day. I wasn't there that day. But it's amazing I even went back. It took me 3 months. I was haunted. It took me 3 months to go back. And now that I'm in New York, I'm like, how did I do that? How did I do that? And I'm scared to actually go back to Hawaii because it's been 5 years. And I'm like, oh my God, would I be tempted again to go to that island? It's a mile away. There's nothing else around.
Is there any sense of meaning that you connect with going after comedy? Or is it just something you enjoy? Because I'm seeing like you and Michael. So Michael is off on a mountain
He
somewhere.
hates comedy too.
Right. And he's on a mountain
Yeah.
somewhere by himself,
Right.
basically, or with a couple people.
Right,
And he loves it.
Loves
and then you're
I don't get it.
making a whole crowd laugh.
right.
And it's so different.
So different.
So do you attribute some sort of higher meaning to that? Or
Well, everybody has their
it is?
thing. So like he would say that I'm doing this for attention. I'm like, well, you are too, in a way, because you're talking about on your website or your YouTube, you're talking about your mountain climb. It's impressive that you climb Mount Everest. That's
So is
so
that your
impressive.
purpose? Would you say that thing
No,
that you're going after?
no, it's not. Isn't that funny? Like I said, because I did break it down and I thought about it. I had time to think about it. Would I be happy just making someone laugh every single day for the rest of my life if I could, without the stage, without the lights, and without the action and the glam? Yes. Yeah. That to me is the best connection ever. But to make with somebody, to make them laugh from not laughing, I mean, there's no greater joy. You can't be upset when you're laughing. I tried. It's impossible. So how do you not want to generate that energy in the world? Like, how do you not want to give that back? We're all here to give something, right? We all want a purpose. We all want to
Well,
feel like we have a purpose in life.
that's
so
my
that's
question.
when we become
is that
parents.
something you believe in?
Yeah. So we become parents because we want to have a purpose and we want to hand something down. And I wrote a book for the same reason. Everybody wants to impress somebody else. That's definite. That's why I'm saying you should impress yourself also. But everybody has somebody in the back of their mind that they want to impress, whether it's their mother, their grandmother, their aunt, somebody that didn't believe in you. There's always somebody in the back of your mind. It could be more than one person, but there's always somebody in the back of your mind. And if you don't have a full cup and there's nothing in your cup, then you don't have anything to give. So everybody wants to give something. What is it? Some people give charity. Some people give, their time. I always say you don't have to give money for charity. You can give your time. It is so important. Like all you have to do is text somebody today. Say, I was thinking about you. Do you have any idea the impact that does to somebody else? Really? You were thinking about me in your whole day? You were thinking about me? Do you know how powerful that is? That's an amazing connection. That's another thing, another way to get to people. And what are you doing it for? When you give, don't you get something out of it? I mean, really, if you're giving charity, aren't you getting so much out of it? It's almost selfish to give charity in a way. And that's another reason why I'm like fiscally conservative, because I'm like, why should I take my money where you're going to take my money and pay it in taxes to people that I don't want you to give it to? Why don't I give it to the charity of my choice? That to me is more powerful. That's why I like less regulations in government, and I'd rather have my own choices. It's another thing to think about.
Well, part of that is built into tax code that you can get a deduction for charity, right?
Right. But I mean, more of that. Do you know what I mean? If it could always be like that, and yeah, for the minor things like, I guess, hospitals and schools and stuff like that. But what if I don't like what they're teaching in schools? You know what I mean? Like, I have no control over that. Oh, it's who I vote for? Come on. I'm in New York. I'm in a blue state. Like, there's no way I have control over that. I mean, I have as much control over that the way Gaza people and Palestinians have with Hamas. Like, they don't have control, you know? You don't really have that much control in New York. If you're in New York or California, you have very little control over who gets to say what. So it's very hard for somebody like me to live in New York because I have a love-hate relationship with New York because of that, because I have no control over where everything goes. You know what I mean? Not how I got to that, but that's where I'm at.
If there's one final lesson, it can either be from your whole life experience so far, or even just from today. Just one lesson that you've learned that you're thinking about lately.
Like, if I had to think about, one lesson, just really you're with yourself. This is what I wrote in my book. Stop waiting for approval from others when you're the one that you live with 24/7. You really are with yourself 24/7. You have your own thoughts all the time. Why don't you make them, first of all, good as much as you can? I mean, twice a day at least, I say to myself, my nickname is Vicky. I grew up with Vicky. I love you, Vicky. And then I say it back. I go, I love you too. And I feel like my mind doesn't know the difference that someone told me that, because that's really what people are seeking. They were seeking love. You know what I mean? Or connection. So why not just tell yourself? Like, why are you so bad? If you told somebody right now that you love them, they would feel good about themselves. So why not say it to you? Like, you're saying it to them. So why is that less worthy to say it to yourself? So even if, you're playing tricks on your mind, that's the only kind of manifesting that I really do believe will help you, because your thoughts really are the only thing you have. And you should start making those good. And that's when I started learning in the last few years. Like, I started to really taking the manifestation message, I take that to another level. I take it to, it's so important that I'm not so abusive. Do I have pity parties for myself? Absolutely. Just the other day, I was like, no one's getting back to me. How come? I wrote, I submitted to a festival. Why is this person opening for somebody and I'm not opening? Like, how am I not headlining yet? How am I not there yet? And I'm like, well, maybe it's just not my time. I have to start really being kind to myself, or maybe it's not supposed to happen right now, because maybe I'm supposed to be focusing on something else. I don't know the big picture, and I'm going to trust that I don't know everything. And that's a good lesson, when you just trust that you're not in control. And that's fine. That's actually more fun. You don't want to be in control of everything. It's knowing too much is like if you wanted to know when you were going to die. No, you don't. You don't. Because if you really did know when, you would live every single day, not like it's your last, but like it's like a chore. I do say that you should live every day like it is your last. The time is precious, and that's all. I mean, the older I get now, I'm like scared, because like, oh my God, am I ever going to be a famous comedian, or am I ever going to make an impact in comedy? I'm getting older. It's uglier. It's uglier by nature. Like I'm aging as we speak. Like, I can't afford to not have time on my side, but time is slipping. And this is what you have to realize, that every single day is a gift, and you really have to love who you become. You have to love who you become. So start doing little kind acts every day, and that builds up to who you become, because now people feel good around you, and you feel good around yourself.
Wow, that was special.
I hope so.
I'm going to have to listen back to that and unpack all of it.
Okay.
But that was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
Victoria.
what I learned. And thank you for having me on. I really had a pleasure being on here. Thanks.